War in Ukraine, January 17. Russia launched a major attack along the entire 1,000 kilometers line. Russia launched a major attack along the entire 1,000 kilometers line. Military Sumery Channel reported that, as predicted by Western experts, Moscow forces launched a large-scale attack along the entire 1,000 kilometers long front line from Kupiansk to Krinky. Fierce and bloody battles occurred in some areas. In the near future, the first detailed information about the results of the battles will soon appear. Rybar Channel said that in the Lyman direction, operations to eliminate Ukrainian bridgeheads on the left bank of the Zherebets River continue. The main clashes often occur in the Torsko and Serebryansky areas. Following Bakhmut's direction, Russia is conducting offensive operations to flank Ukrainian forces, continuing towards gaining control of Chasiv Yar. There is information that Russian artillery is actively operating near Bogdanovka. In the Avdiivka direction, battles for position took place along the entire front line. In particular, Russian motorized rifle units are attacking enemy positions in the Kamenka neighborhood north of Avdiivka under heavy Ukrainian fire. On the southern flank, the sides were fighting near Severno. The Russian Air Force is actively attacking enemy concentrations of human resources and armored vehicles throughout the Avdiivka area. Russia continued to attack Ukrainian positions east of the village of Georgievka and along the forest belt northwest of Marinka, making some small advances. In the Ugledar direction, fierce fighting took place on both sides of Novomikhailivka. There are reports of a significant Russian advance as they gain 7 square kilometers south of the settlement. SGF Channel said that Moscow forces advanced 1.3 kilometers toward the Ugledar, Konstantinovka highway. The main clashes took place in forests, not in urban areas. In addition, Moscow also attacked Kiev's military clusters west of Elizavetovka and south of Vodyanoy. In the Vremyesk direction, positional battles continued to take place along the entire front line. It was reported that several Ukrainian positions were attacked as Russia was trying to gain a foothold in the forest belt west of Staromayershko. In addition, Russia also attacked concentrations of enemy armed forces and equipment in Temerovka. In the direction of Zaporizhia, the main efforts of the parties were focused on improving the tactical situation. In recent days, Russia has expanded its control west of Verbovo. Russian artillery and UAVs are actively operating along the entire front line. In the Kherson direction, the situation remained the same. Battles for position were taking place in Krinky and on the Isles. As operating conditions worsened, the intensity of fighting gradually decreased. However, Ukraine continues to transfer manpower and weapons to Krinky, which easily becomes easy prey for Russian UAVs. Ukrainian General Staff. Fighting intensity increased. Ukrainska Pravda reported that the report on the evening of January 16 from the General Staff of Ukraine said that during the day there were 85 clashes along the front line. Most of the Russian attacks were concentrated in Avdiivka. Russia launched 2 missiles, conducted 13 airstrikes and 32 artillery and rocket attacks. Within the past 24 hours, the Ukrainian Air Force conducted an attack on an area where the enemy's manpower, weapons, and military equipment were concentrated. In addition, one Kh-59 missile was destroyed by Ukrainian air defense. Missile units hit a military concentration area, a command post, and a Russian ammunition train, the report said. The Ukrainian General Staff confirmed that it repelled most enemy attacks in Kupiansk, Shakhtarsky, Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Marinka, and Zaporizhia. The most intense fighting was concentrated in the Avdiivka area, where Kiev forces broke up 30 attacks by Moscow. The enemy did not give up their intention to dislodge Ukrainian units from their positions on the left bank of the Dnieper River. During the day, Russia attacked unsuccessfully 6 times, the report said. Mr. Biden called on congressional leaders to soon approve aid to Kiev. European Pravda reported that U.S. President Joe Biden will host congressional leaders and senior politicians at the White House on January 17 to discuss requests for additional funding, especially military support. For Ukraine, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said that at the White House, the president will receive congressional leaders from the Senate and House, as well as the heads of key bipartisan committees. to discuss the exceptional importance of his proposed additional national security request. Previously, on December 27, 2023, the U.S. announced the provision of the latest military support package to Ukraine, worth $250 million. The White House later said it no longer had the money to provide new military assistance to Kiev before it was approved by Congress. Denmark and the Netherlands are ready to deliver Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. European Pravda reported that 2 of Ukraine's first 14 Leopard 2A4 tanks, sponsored by Denmark and the Netherlands, have been majorly overhauled and are ready to ship. The Dutch Ministry of Defense said that 2 Leopard 2A4 tanks have undergone a major overhaul at Germany's Rheinmetall weapons production facility, after which they will be sent to Poland to train Ukrainian soldiers. The remaining Leopard 2A4s will be repaired in the coming months. The Dutch Ministry of Defense added, according to the current schedule, tanks along with spare parts and ammunition will be delivered to Ukraine this summer. The Netherlands and Denmark are members of the International Tank Alliance, supplying battle tanks to Ukraine. In April 2023, these countries announced their intention to buy 14 Leopard 2 tanks for Ukraine. In addition, these 2 countries, along with Germany, also previously announced their intention to transfer 100 Leopard 1 tanks to Kiev. The first cars arrived in Ukraine last fall. Mr. Zelensky attended the Davos Forum and met NATO and EU leaders. Kyiv Independent reported that President Volodymyr Zelensky, during a meeting with world political and business leaders at the World Economic Forum in Davos on January 16, emphasized that his determination to support Ukraine is the only quick path towards just and stable peace. As international support for Kiev dwindled, Mr. Zelensky went to Switzerland to rekindle trust among allies and partners. I appreciate your willingness to hear the answers to the really important questions. When will the war end? Is a third world war possible? It's time to negotiate with Mr. Vladimir Putin, President Zelensky suggested at the forum. The Ukrainian head of state emphasized that previous concerns about an escalation into a larger-scale war, delayed decisive actions against Russia or important military supplies for Ukraine, has been proven null and void. On the sidelines of the forum, Mr. Zelensky met with a number of senior political leaders, including European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg and U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to discuss support. Future. President Zelensky called on the West to unite to stop Russia. President Volodymyr Zelensky said the West should show solidarity and call for more support for Ukraine to ensure that Russia does not prevail, Reuters reported. In a speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos, President Zelensky said that Western fears of escalation had caused Kiev to lose time in its war with Russia. In fact, Putin is the embodiment of war. He will not change. We must change, he said. President Zelensky also said that he had received positive signals about financial support from the EU and that he hoped that the U.S. would approve further aid within weeks. The U.S. Congress last month did not approve $50 billion in security aid to Ukraine due to internal disputes. In addition, Ukraine is waiting for an aid package worth 50 billion euros, $54.35 billion United States dollars, from the EU, which was blocked by Hungary. EC President. Europe needs to continue to support Kiev. Guardian reported that European Commission, EC, President Ursula von der Leyen said in Davos on January 16 that Europe needs to continue to support Kiev. Ukrainians need predictable financing throughout 2024 and beyond, she said. They need a sustainable supply of arms to defend Ukraine and regain their rightful territory. They need the ability to prevent future attacks from Russia. And they also need hope. They need to know that, through their struggle, they will find a better future for their children. And Ukraine's better future is called Europe. President Putin. It is impossible to take away Russia's military achievements in Ukraine. Reuters reported that President Vladimir Putin said it was impossible to deprive Russia of the military achievements it has achieved in Ukraine. Speaking about possible peace negotiations, the Russian president also said in televised comments that the ideas proposed by Ukraine are obstructive formulas for the peace process. Ukraine said it will not rest until all Russian soldiers are pushed out of its territory.